Hey, doing, Jordy? All right, mate?
Well, Gordy, what about you, old friend?
All
Keeping all
good.
right?
All good.
Good to see you, man.
Um,
Good to see you.
what I call it. So, I just want to introduce you, Jordy, to people who maybe don't know who you are, right? And I just, uh, Jordy's been living out of Lurgan for a few years now. He's living in Derry, hey, now, and but anybody that knows who Lurgan knows he's some of those accomplishments. He's done everything in endurance sport you can nearly mention. I'll just go through the list here. He swam across Loch Ness, 9.5 hour swim across Loch Ness, 21 knot winds. I can verify that myself because I was there that day. He's done an Ironman. Um, he has done ultra marathons. He climbed Kilimanjaro. Um, he done the 32, the highest mountain in every county in Ireland. Um, Leading on to that, he broke a world record climbing all the top peaks in every county in Ulster. And a really interesting thing he done is he cycled the whole way across Alaska on his Todd because he couldn't get any mates to go. He ran out of his mates and all.
Didn't
No,
have any friends.
he couldn't. He had no friends at that stage. And what they call it, no, he cycled the whole way across Alaska. So I've known Geordie from he was about flipping no age, and he lived behind us in Pine Bank. And what do you call it? Known him since he was in nappies, and we're good friends. So it's really great to get him on here just to talk about some, because sometimes I'm kind of talking about people's achievement on the grapevine, and and because he's a buddy, you forget about all these things that your mate's done. And it's great to have you on, Jordy, and good to get a chat with you. All right,
Thanks.
so
Thank you. Good to see you as
uh,
well.
so
God, it's when you start listing those things, it sounds. God, it does sound like there's quite a few of those over the years. Good
uh,
memories too. Like some of them with the times I had friends.
so
Yeah.
what do you call it? And you've always had plenty of mates, Jordy. But one of your best buddies, you're doing probably there's no saying kind of where to start these interviews, but probably ultra marathons at the minute you've got big into. You've been with well-known Lurgan man who's been doing them with you. They're big.
Big Dermy McConaughey. Yes, I think Dermy was. I've kind of been doing a lot of running with a running club down here, but it was shorter distances, and Dermy was. He was doing more of the long distance stuff, so I started getting into them with him for a wee while there. But I don't know. I might steer back towards the faster, kind of shorter stuff now. But you never know. Your mind changes every month, Corey. You never know. But
So
Big Dermy certainly, he's still doing a good bit of running with me.
uh, so you're up to anybody doesn't know ultra marathons. What sort of distances we're talking about here, Jordy? That you're running there in the ultra marathons?
Well, I'm just kind of thinking there. Me and Dermy went up and did that Causeway Coast there. It was 40 miles up and down. The peaks and different things up that way. More recent one, Dermy got me up to do that last man standing one down at the lakes, where you do just over a 4 mile course, and then you keep going and going and going until you stop. I think I got up to like 56 miles on that one, but Dermy kept her lit and he made the 100. So fair play to Dermy that day, you know. Um, but it's tight going. The ultras they're tight going.
Yeah, but that
You kind of think when you've done a couple of marathons, you kind of think that's the peak of long distance running until you find out about other boys doing these ultras. But it's good. It's good. Nice big community too. Community of fellas, out there doing that stuff.
yep, yep. And I said what I call a lot of these interviews, Jordy, have been kind of there's a focus on mental health and stuff like that there, and um, there is that comradeship in these endurance events. People sort of go, "What the hell would you do that for?" But with these endurance events, there's a real comradeship in them, and there's real close friendships built over them. Certainly, myself and yourself didn't really know you were maybe at Cavi's wee brother. I just knew you as Cavi's wee brother, and then we swam across
Yeah.
Latvia and became very, very, very close friends. And that's what happens in endurance sport quite a bit, isn't it, Gerard? You know?
I think with us, Gordy, it was back when I was doing triathlons way early on, and I'd heard about you out doing the running, and then but kind of just like a lot of people when they're doing these sports, you end up coming together at some stage. Like I say, I would have knew you, but you were a bit older than me when we were younger, so just knew of you really. But then I think we kind of became good mates along the way, and decided on that crazy lock swim. I haven't done much of swimming since that. I know you've done your stuff since it, like, but I haven't really. I've changed sports a wee bit since that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it was
but you're right. Yes.
was what do you call it? But from say, you know, that's what I'm saying. You can't. You seem to be a type of like we done that swimming, and I became big into swimming and whatever. But you seem to be a fella that has to move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. So next
Yeah.
thing,
Some sometimes that's good because it's nice to have a new exciting challenge, but also what you often find is a certain you do it because of injuries. You know what I mean? Maybe your shoulders are playing up with the swimming, so you say, okay, what else can I do? And you just kind of do what your body allows you to do. You
yeah,
know, for a long time I stayed away from the running because, as you know, my knees weren't great in the early days, but for some reason I managed to get past that, and running's my main thing these days.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so
So
yeah.
what do you call it? We're always keeping an eye on whatever each other's doing. And you told me that you were planning on cycling across Alaska, and um, we kind of lost touch a wee bit for a couple of years, and then we've done a bit of a challenge together. The two of us climbed the highest peak in every county in Ireland, and we headed away with the two tents and away with it. And probably wasn't a huge. It was more of a crack for us because we used to endurance events. And it wasn't that tough for us because we were. But the reason I'm talking about that there is sitting in it. We just grabbed two tents and we head away for a week, and we're maybe knocking out 2 or 3 mountains a day, and we're wild camping, and we're sitting around the campfire with a wee beer, just like I have now, and
Yeah, yeah.
we're sitting telling me about
Well, sorry, I'm a wee posh boy. I've got
that
my
Buckfast,
wine.
Martin, is it? Is that
No,
Buckfast?
you're not allowed book fast and dairy. That's what I'm gonna think.
What the hell's wrong with you? Where
That's
is it?
just
You
that's just house red.
no, you forgot your roots, Stuart. Sorry. I'm gonna have to close this interview down.
I couldn't cope with those hangovers from Buckfast.
But no, I would say we're sitting at the campfire with a couple of beers. I think we're up in what do you call the Limerick Tipperary Mountain?
Oh, was that the Galty
The
ones?
Gelty Moor. We're sitting
Okay.
at the campfire, wild camp up Gelty Moor, and you decided that this was a good time to start talking about your experiences of wild bears in Alaska.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Just happened to come up.
uh, so absolutely hilarious and stuff. There was one of the ones that was just explain them. You're on your own. There's no. It's not an organized trip. You've just got even the bike. So like the bike was a specially modified bike, wasn't it, Jordan?
Yeah. So how that trip came about, I had actually read a book about a guy who'd cycled around the world and stuff, and he kind of inspired me to get into the cycle turns. So I ended up, a couple of years planning. I went over to Manchester, bought that bike secondhand, still expensive enough secondhand. Cycled at home, but the first year I wasn't ready
As
to
you
go to
do,
Alaska.
Jordan. But even up there, like as you do. So you went over to Manchester, you bought a bike, you cycled at home. So like, how far was that cycle?
Well, I suppose, well, it wasn't cycling across water, so it was
Yeah.
just Manchester down to Liverpool, and then once I got into Belfast, just cycled up home. So
I suppose not too
like
bad.
anybody who's done a bit of cycling, I suppose it's not that
Yeah,
hard, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but it'd be more then. I suppose the next that summer I wasn't ready to go to Alaska yet, so I wanted to test the bike, and I I headed out. I got the bus from Rosslare over to Cherbourg in France. The same day the World Cup was taken off, so that boat was full of the both Northern Ireland and Irish kind of supporters. So it was a party boat, so I didn't get much sleep. But I spent a couple of weeks then just cycling down that coast of France into Spain, and then got to Bilbao and flew home from Bilbao with the bike. So it was a good tester, that one, just to see what it's like to do a bit of wild camping, cycle with all your gear and stuff. Uh, but cycling in France and Spain, so we pretty much like cycling here. You got out to Alaska. I know you were saying Alaska, Gordy, but it actually started in Anchorage, Alaska. The first 500 miles was coming across Alaska, but the rest of it was then into Canada, the Yukon, British Columbia, Vancouver Island. So there was that. There was quite a bit of it in that end of Canada as well. Flew into Anchorage. Do you want me to waffle on here?
No, you're right. No. How far was the cycle in total then?
I think, Gordy, just off memory, I think it was about 2,000 miles or something like that.
2,000 miles
Something
cycle.
like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Now, obviously, I wasn't in any rush, so I could just kind of take my time on it. Usually, with the load that I had on, the type of bike I was on, and the terrain I was in, if I covered 60 miles in a day, I'd be happy enough.
Yeah.
Because I was just trying to take in, I wasn't trying to race it. I was just trying to take in the scenery and what was around me. But as you mentioned before, like obviously, I went to that part of the world because it's just a big adventure. It's a crazy part of the world I've never been to before, so I just wanted to see it all. But the wildlife was the biggest difference on this trip than anything I've done before, because when you go out and do any kind of cycling or training or anything, you never have to worry about wildlife that could actually eat you. So it was a big factor. I kind of didn't think that I would run into them. I thought it was kind of a wee bit, maybe they're deep in the woods and stuff, but nah, I seen quite a lot of black bears, grizzly bears, one encounter with a wolf. So yeah, it was crazy stuff, like very scary at times, but I just had to manage it, just had to
There was
get
a time,
past them.
I think you told me about when we were sitting beside the campfire up in Gelty Moor. You told me about what do you call it, the wolf that just kept tracking you, tracked you for miles, didn't it?
So what happened with the wolf was I was kind of more fixated on bears and watching out for bears. The wolf, I was always told, they'll travel in packs. They'll not come too close to humans. If they see them, they'll go on. Um, but just as I entered into Canada, I stopped in this wee town, and someone happened to tell me this story about a cyclist doing something what I was doing, being attacked by a wolf, chasing after him down the road, and the guy gets into his camper van at the last second before the wolf rips apart his bike. Right now, I kind of heard that story, and I'm kind of half believing it, half kind of thinking, nah, maybe it's not true. On the exact same day, and I'm already nervous watching out for bears, but on the exact same day, a big kind of figure comes up to the side of the road, maybe a couple of 100 meters ahead of me, and I'm kind of obviously watching out to see if it's a bear, and then I kind of look a bit closer, I can see it's a wolf, and it sees me and it's staring at me. Now, you're always told if it's a bear, don't run, because you can't outrun a bear, and plus the best thing to do is to stand and face it. But with a wolf, I never had any instructions. So I kind of was hoping it was going to go away, but it just started coming towards me. So what I did was I just kind of did a bit of a U-turn on the bike. Now, this bike weighs a ton, so it was just taking me all day to do that. I'm trying to cycle like mad in the other direction. Again, there's nobody around for miles and stuff, but I did happen to pass something that said campsite. So I was going to try and make it down to that. But those campsites are just government campsite. Nobody actually bees at them. You might, there'll be nobody manning it. There's no people there to take your money or anything. So anyway, I got down to it. There was nobody there. There was nobody even staying there. And I'm kind of half expecting this wolf to come charging after me. but I don't know if it did come running after me, but I got down to that campsite as fast as I could, and I got into a toilet and hid in a toilet. For I hid in a toilet for like I must have been an hour in there till I was sure it wasn't around me anymore.
Yeah.
And then I went back up to the road, and then had to cycle past the same place that I seen it. But yeah, that was a nerve-wracking experience, the wolf one.
I know
Yeah,
there was times there. So you said it wasn't just that you seen non bear. There was lots of encounters with bears, and you had to. Wasn't there times you had to actually wait further down the road wait for a couple of hours maybe on pickups so that you could just get into the pickup to go past the bears and stuff like that.
that basically happened quite a lot. That yeah. So with the birds, there was so many different ways of handling them. If you were with somebody else and you were probably constantly making noise, then there would probably be a way before you seen them. But it all depends on if you surprise them or not. If you can kind of see them early enough, you can kind of do a lot of shouting and stuff, and then maybe they'll move on. But if you surprise them, then that becomes a problem, and you're now too close to them, and they're going to do something. Again, it all depends if it's a grizzly or if it's a black bear or if it's a mother with cubs. And I encountered every one of those. Um, like one time, the closest I got was I came to the very, very top of a hill, and obviously it takes time climbing a hill. And a big black bear kind of walked out at the bushes at the exact same time. So he was within a couple of meters from me. And again, I'm kind of told don't run away because they'll catch you. So I just kind of stood up on my paddles, made myself as big as possible, and it stood up as well. And but as I was doing that, I was kind of ignoring all the advice that I've
Did
been
you have a
told. You
spare
know,
pair of
realize it was
boxers at that point?
definitely, buddy. Yeah. But as I was doing that, I was turning the bike because I was at the top of a hill, and I was thinking to myself, like, you get a bit of speed here going down this hill. So I was trying to do what I was told to do, but at the same time, I was turning and I was made a boat for it down the hill. Luckily enough, I think the bear it was just curious. It wasn't going to come after me, so it didn't. And then that occasion I was okay. But a lot of the times what will happen is a local will see you, and the locals they all think you're nuts being out there with bears anyway on a bike. They'll see you and they'll maybe say, right, throw your bike in the back of our truck and come on past. There's a big bear up ahead. Or a tourist. Now the tourists don't get it. They think they're all cuddly Yogi Bears because they're all in their camper vans, and so they kind of don't get why you're afraid. But in fairness to them, they'd also put my bike in the back of their RV and they'll take me past as well. But there was a time I met up with this other guy. He was a cyclist, but he was about 78, funny enough, but he was out there and he was doing something similar to what I was doing. And I says to him, I'll cycle with you the following day because we both kind of had a few experiences with bears that day. We're a bit on edge. And he says to me, go back up to the shop and get yourself some supplies for tomorrow because for the next 150 miles, there's nothing. So as I was going back up to the shop, there's 3 grizzlies were in my way. And I was kind of like, right, okay, I can't go past these guys. So I went back down to that guy and I asked him, what he do? But he had these things that I didn't know about. They're called bear bangers, right? So basically what they are is like a firework that you kind of pull and it goes off over the bear's head, makes a bang and the bear scatters. And that's basically what he done. I wish I actually had caught it on video because I had my bike before he pulled that thing. I had my bike turned the other way to go like hammers in the opposite direction in case they came charging towards us. But he did it, and fair enough, they moved on, and we managed to get past them. But still, nerve-wracking stuff, like nerve-wracking stuff.
It's hard to put into kind of context, like. But if you're walking or running on your own, and a big dog comes out at you, or you see a big dog, it's scary enough. These things is size of a flipping, they're 4 times the size of a human or more. You know what I mean? And they're fast.
Yeah.
That
That guy that I just told you about there, like we were obviously exchanging stories ourselves. Now, he told me a story what happened to him that day, and I think if this had happened to me, I might have had to get the first flight home because he said he was coming up a hill and he spotted a grizzly coming out the other side, on up the road a wee bit, just walking across the road. He just stopped dead. It went down to the gully, into a gully at the same side of the road as him, and started walking towards him, but it still hadn't seen him yet. And then he stopped. He's just stood where he was, and eventually the bear seen him. So what the grizzly did was they do this thing called false charging. Well, they'll charge towards you, just to get your reaction. So this grizzly charged towards him, came within a few meters, and then just got its claws and scraped up the dirt in the ground, threw it up against his face, and then it turned and it walked back, right? And then he thought, right, okay, I've got away with this. But then it came back and done the same thing again, but it got closer. And again, I can imagine what's going through his head when a grizzly's coming at you like that. Again, done the same thing, turned around, went the other way, and then it done it again for the third time, for the final time, got really close to him, and then this time got the dirt right in his face, and then he turned around and he went away, and then that was the end of it. So it's crazy. I actually can't believe I can't believe like that happened. That could easily have happened to me as well. And you're supposed to just stand your ground. And the only thing you have for protection, Gordy, and I never knew about these bear banger things, is something called bear spray. So basically, it's like a really, really strong mace that you're supposed to spray in a bear's eyes. But I always remember thinking to myself, yeah, I don't really want to be getting close enough to a bear that I'm using something to spray in his eyes.
No, not at all.
I didn't really feel too safe with that stuff.
On the false charging thing, I just took the charge at face value myself, to be honest with you. But it's and it's just I suppose it's 2000, as you said, 2,000 mile cycle, Jerry. So if it wasn't happening, you were thinking about it some of the times. But
You do. It's, to be honest, Gordy, yourself and long cycles and different things we've done. You can switch off, and your mind can wander, and other things. Where this is, you don't switch off ever. It's just you're always watching the road ahead for any movement in the bushes, and then you've got to come up with a plan then of how to get past them once you do see something.
But then there was nights on it, like weeks we weren't seeing anybody and just camping out on your own as well.
Maybe not weeks. I was definitely doing the camping every few days. Maybe a couple of days could go by without seeing someone. But
yeah,
there was times you're definitely doing wild camping, but there's other times where I always try to make it to some form of a campsite, because you kind of felt safe in the campsite with other people around, even though there's nothing to stop birds wandering into that campsite.
yeah.
But it's but there was a lot of times I didn't see people for a long time. So so sometimes you're sitting thinking to yourself, Gordy, what the hell am I doing? It's scary. It's scary stuff.
Yeah, but again, it's just it's something that I can understand. It's the endurance thing, and it's the next thing, and and it's the friends you meet and the people you meet, and sort of like we were doing. we done that trip together. We're doing the 32 counties. So it's good talking to your face, because most of the time I was looking at your fucking the back of your arse going up a mountain with me about half a mile behind you, because you're super fit, and in fairness to you, you'd have made sure I could still see you to get a guide to the top. You know what I mean? And we've done that trip anyway, and then it was brilliant trip. We've done it in honor of Connor Toman, and I think it would have been Connor's birthday either today or tomorrow. So, and it was great just to do that in tribute to him. But typical wasn't you weren't going to rest on those laurels. So you decided you were going to try and set a world record for doing the biggest mountain in every county in Ulster. And in fairness to you, you asked the old fella here, did I want to do it with you? But having experienced that trip, I knew it wasn't fit enough. I'd love to have done it. I really would have loved to have done it, but I said, no, I'm only holding Gerard back here. And I said, no, and you went ahead and did it yourself, and you done the highest peak in every county in Ulster. How many hours, Stuart?
Uh, I ended up doing it in 17 hours 51 minutes. That was the final time on that. Yeah, that was a tight one, Gordy. I think I actually got that idea. We were doing the 32 county one, and I think it was my brother actually. He said that he knew some guy who had attempted this, but no, he'd done the six counties, and I thought, well, if you're going to do it, do the whole nine. Do the
Yeah,
nine counties. So I thought I'd give it a go. And anybody who was following that at the time probably seen the first week I attempted it. It was I was going
so
flat
I
out
just
at
want
it.
to,
There's a lot of
sorry, Jordy, just before you go on, I just want to clarify with people that this is this is all in one go. This is climbing up Donard, which is the biggest and down, and then on the next county in the car, up that mountain, on the next mountain, up it, and he done the biggest mountain in every county in just under 18 hours. So, and set a world record. But it's again, you attempted it on your own, and the first time you done there, some of the mountain, there were seven mountains in total for that for the record, because a couple of counties share
yeah, yeah,
highest mountain, don't they?
yeah. Tyrone and Derry share the highest peak with Mount Saul, and Fermanagh and Cavan share the highest peak with Kulka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. A lot of people would be familiar with Culkey Mountain with as the Stairway to Heaven.
yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But so look, I just I know Jerry doesn't like the blow his own, but the achievement of that there, so it's seven big mountains in 17 hours, including the driving all over Ulster. So and Culkey Mountain or the Stairway to Heaven, as people know, when you get to the top of that boardwalk, that's not actually the top of that mountain. So
No,
it's not sure,
it's
and
not.
that's it's
No, there's
important
a
that people know this, because this would have been, and I'd done those mountains before myself, and this would have been the one that we would have, you'd have called the easy one, wouldn't you? Because it was a boardwalk, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And what happened? What
I,
happened?
to be honest, if you go up that mountain in daylight, it is simple enough. I think my problem, it was dark.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right, Gordy. With that challenge, yeah, obviously you have to be fit enough to run up the mountains pretty fast, but there's a lot of logistics involved getting between those mountains, and trying to do that as fast as you can, and also knowing the direction up the mountains and the quickest way back down, because some of them aren't as well known, like Mount Troston and Antrim and stuff. A lot of them are, people don't generally be up them. But that first, I'd made it, obviously that was the time I did it, was my second attempt. The week before was my first attempt. I went out on that. I always started at Errigal and Donegal. But by the time I got to Kulka, which was the last mountain, I'd been hit with a lot of problems logistically. There was bridges closed, really bad weather, different things was happening, which was slowing me down, which meant by the time I got to Kulka, it was basically getting pitch black. And now I've been up Kulka quite a few times before, but so I kind of thought, even if it is dark, I'll be able to figure this out. And my torch wasn't great. It was okay, but it wasn't great. So by the time I got there, a bit knackered, everything was kind of going wrong at that stage. I was going up a direction. And I actually ended up, because I remember going down a couple of days later to figure it out. And I ended up, by the time I figured it out, I was going the right way the whole time. But I got a bit confused. I kind of thought I was on the wrong path. I was actually seeing things in the path. I was that tired. I thought I'd actually walked up on someone's house and I was in someone's driveway, and I could see a house, parked car and everything. And there was none of that there. It was that just wasn't there.
you'd
But that's
already
just
done,
shows you where.
you'd already done six big mountains. and
Yeah.
and
That
you
just
got
shows you the
there.
time at that stage, Gordy, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so eventually, like, it's tough for me to kind of call it a day on anything, but eventually I just had to call it a day, and I knew I was going to come back and do it again, but I didn't tell anybody, even yourself, because I know you had offered a couple of things for me. You wanted to say, Jerry, you were offering to do the driving and actually come up and do torches and different things to guide me up, but um, I don't like to put people out, and it was a work night as well, and I didn't want to put anybody out. So I ended up not telling anybody I was going to go for it again the second week. But the second week, because I was more clued in what I was doing, did a few things a lot different. Actually went far faster and got up and down it in great time. So no, it worked out well. Worked out well. Uh, but look, Gordon, I'm under no illusion. Look, I like I say, this community of guys who do these ultras and these mountain running guys and all the rest, like I'm by no means the fittest of all those guys. There's a lot of them out there, a lot fitter than me. So I'd love to see some of those guys take this challenge on and go and try it out themselves and try to get that record. To be honest, I take it as a compliment that somebody comes and tries the same challenge I did to get the record themselves. So hopefully somebody goes for that. I did say that at the end of the last, when I finished it the
yeah,
last time.
yeah. No, but nonetheless, somebody has to set the record, and you can't. I don't know if you could fail run up and down that many mountains in one day. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, and I know you'd have been doing a better run and a better walking, but it doesn't matter. You hold the record, and that's it. It's up to somebody else to, as you say, if there's
Hopefully
some of
somebody
these
will.
fair runners out there that wanna go
Yeah,
and break it, go and break it. But it's a great,
yeah,
and it's a record. It's a great record, and you set it, and first one to set it, and say I couldn't believe, you know, I couldn't believe you just went and done it the following week. Just
yeah.
took most people a long time to recover from that there, but it just
I actually, I actually had a problem on the other end of it this time, Corey. I tried to go up Urkel when it was, you know, a wee bit earlier, so it was pitch black when I was going up Urkel.
yeah,
Again, I kind of thought, I've got a torch, I know the way, I'll do it, no problem. But never underestimate going up mountains in the dark.
no,
Like you can get very disoriented, and I did slightly. What you find about Urkel is you often find people going up that mountain because they want to catch sunrise.
yeah,
So there was a couple of two different groups. I could see their torches heading up the mountain at the same time. And once I realized I didn't know where I was kind of shouting to the other groups, saying, asking them were they on the trail? And it sounded like neither one of those groups knew where they were either. So I ended up having to just take the lead in that situation and try to figure it out. But I did. I got up, but on the way back down, I fell and cracked my spine on a big boulder. And God, it took months to get rid of that bruise. But luckily enough, it didn't do me too much damage. I was able to get up and carry on.
yeah, yeah. So no, I say these things are all seem normal to us, or seem normal. It seems normal to me. You're doing this type of carry on, but like it's something driving you. It's hard to understand. Hard probably for people from outside perspective. And why would you spend 17 hours climbing, six mountains? And it's the challenge. It's just a challenge and the next challenge and the people you meet along the way and so on. But what do you
When
call
I'm
it?
on when I'm on R16, Gordy, when I'm on R16 of that challenge, I'm asking myself the same question.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And when I was up trying to go up Galway Mountain, we had one time with a hangover, I was asking myself that question. I can tell you that.
Oh, that's right. You hit the wall on that mountain. That's right.
Big time.
Got a wee bit of food for you once you got up to a certain point. And I think you got a second burst of energy once you got that, didn't you?
But no, but even there, like there's other stuff, apart aside from say I went through the list there, swam across Loch Ness 9.5 hours, Ironman, the Ulster Mountain record, the Ulster Mountains, it's a world record effectively. You've done ultra marathons, Kilimanjaro, Alaska, we've talked about. But I wanted to ask you a wee bit just about the Camino. You did,
Oh, Camino,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's fond memories
Yeah.
for you.
The Camino's become a big part, a big thing now. I was first introduced to the Camino. I know many people would remember Father Martin McLinton. He actually introduced me to the Camino a long time ago, and I went out with him and two other people, and we actually cycled it. But I never really got what it was about. I just, he obviously he knew what it was, and he knew I liked a bit of cycling, a bit of endurance stuff. So he invited me along. I was glad he did. But when I got out onto it, Gordy, I kind of seen everybody else hiking it, and then I sussed out what the whole thing was about. So I always thought I'm going to come back and actually hike this thing myself one day, and I did. I've actually been back now. I've done the traditional Camino route now. I've hiked it twice, cycled it, and a couple of years ago there I went and did the Portuguese route. The Camino it all ends on the same spot, Santiago de Compostela in Spain, but it can start at different places.
Yeah.
So the last one I did started from Lisbon, but I know it's become very popular now. I know a lot of people have done it. So, but if you haven't done it, it's a great experience,
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you call it? No, it's look, it's brilliant talking to you, Jordy. And no, it's good to give just to mention out the Father Martin, and what do you call it? It's amazing how one thing leads on to another, and one event leads on to another, and so when I went through the list there, but so you're one of the most deserving owners of a Learn Grapevine T-shirt. So
Oh yes, I've got it on for you today,
stand up
Gordy.
there, show it there.
On for you today. Funny
Yeah,
enough, I was telling you there recently. I love this T-shirt. To be honest, sometimes I'm wearing it around Derry, and it's a wee conversation starter because somebody will say to me, "What's this? What's this Lurgan? What's going on there?" And then I tell them about the the website and why I got it and stuff. So I appreciate that. Thanks very much, Gordy.
no, I say one of the most, because the reason I mentioned the T-shirt, we wore it anyway, but what I call it, we're getting fella next to him, Eugene McAtomney. He's actually a wife's uncle, and like he basically begs him for nothing for me, and what I call people can't, and the artist who made the painting that's on the front would be a good friend of Dermy. He's Dermy McConaughey as well. Dermy keeps popping up everywhere, but I just shout out the Johnny McCure, because Johnny lets us use the painting and the logo on the T-shirts, and obviously we don't sell them. It's for people who do amazing things,
That's Johnny. I would know Johnny well through Dermy, and believe it or not, that is another part of that conversation starter. The art piece on the front, and I usually mention his name, where it came from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Johnny's
Johnny's got one of the T-shirts himself, so he has. So he's well, obviously when I got the T-shirts made the first time, Johnny got one. But people would I get this, can I buy one? No. You have to do what Jordy's done. You have to swim lap nay, do an Ironman, do the Ulster Mountain World Record, do a couple of other marathons, Kilimanjaro, 32 Irish mountains, and you just cycle 2,000 miles across Alaska. That's what the cost. So we'll leave it on that note, mate.
I'll have to think of something new for you, Gordy, to get a new one with a different colour, maybe.
I don't know, Bill. Don't know what they're going to have to do out, Jordy, to get another one like this. Nobody has ever got two. Nobody's ever got two.
Right?
No.
See, now you've set me a new challenge.
Well,
now you've set me a new challenge.
I don't know what they're going to do. So, Jordy, thanks so much for talking about it. I know you hate doing this type of thing. You're a shy fella, actually you're a quiet fella, and I really appreciate you coming on to have the chat. And not to mention as well, during these events, Gerard has raised thousands and thousands of pounds for charity. And I know you don't, but he has done, just to give credit for that as well, So thanks a million, Jordy, and I'll talk to you soon, pal. All right.
Appreciate that, Gordy. Good seeing you, buddy. All the best.